Okay, so some concluding thoughts now, right? The Israelites, they didn't deserve to be saved. Remember, God says it wasn't because there were so many of you that I saved you. Actually, there weren't many of you compared to all the other peoples around the world. But it was because of his promise to Abraham. They didn't deserve to be saved. And similarly for us today, us Christians, we don't deserve to be saved. It's really important we see that. It wasn't because of anything special about us that God chose us and saved us. It was just because of God's promise to Abraham that he would be the father of many nations. And before the world was created, God chose us, who are in Christ, to save us. Before we could do anything good or bad. I think it was Spurgeon who said, like, God must have chosen me before I was born. Because once I was born, there was nothing good in me for him to choose me. Something like that. Also notice that they couldn't save themselves. They couldn't save themselves. And looking at Abraham and looking at Isaac and Jacob, these guys weren't good enough to preserve the seed, the offspring, to keep the offspring going through this line, so that eventually the offspring of Genesis 3:15 would be born and destroy the work of the enemy. So they couldn't save themselves. They needed someone to save them, and it was God. It was God who saved them from the Egyptians. And God brought them out of their slavery, but notice that that wasn't it, because they still had to go into the promised land. And for us, right now as Christians, God has saved us from our slavery to sin, saved us from our slavery to Satan and the ways of this world. But we're still waiting to go into the promised land. We're still waiting for that. And life is hard, but we keep putting our faith in God that he is going to bring us through to the promised land. So that's what we're going to look at. Well, that's what we've looked at today. We're going to finish now. And next time we're going to see how God planned to bless the world through these Israelites.